Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with Comic Jay Aquino. Jay Aquino, how the hell are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good, all things considered. It's been a rough year. Well, actually, it's been a start. Well, the year just started, so.
Well,
But
you are here to brighten our 2022, and I mean you're already doing so with the follows. I already follow you on Twitter. You're the Jay Aquino, and you also have an art account, not an alt account, an art account, Takeover Comic, and that's the same thing on Instagram. I think, yeah, the Jay Aquino on Instagram and Takeover Comic on Instagram. But you also have a TikTok, the Jay Aquino. I can't believe you got it. You are the funny Jay Aquino in the entire world.
yeah, when I was acquiring the social media things, I was like, well, I have to try to make it all equal across. That way, I don't have to remember a different one for each one. So it's just the Jake. I took a cue from The Rock, and I just got to work on getting those muscles.
We got the comedy chops already. So what we're gonna talk about real quick is you're gonna kind of shed some light on a drama I've tried to avoid in comedy, which is the whole Dave Chappelle, Patton Oswalt thing. Please teach me about it real quick.
Well, Dave Chappelle is is not well liked in the certain parts of the comedy community because of his transphobic sort of comedy that came about that people perceive it to be that.
Yeah.
And Patton Oswalt did a show with him, I think on in like late December or so. I think right before the year ended, and then he posted a picture with him having his hand around Chappelle, like because they're friends. He just took a picture with his friend, and then afterward he apologized for taking a picture with his friend, which as a friend I would not feel great about, but that's Chappelle's business, not mine. And it's just like a weird thing we're in. It's like you get blamed for what your friend says. I don't really jive with that. It feels kind of weird to me. It feels kind of just not like a great space to be in. Not very accepting.
Well, I mean, I mean, put your money where their mouth is. Practice what you preach. Let's say there's a fellow comic out there on the West Coast. I think you're in LA, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, one of your fellow comics coming up with you, just sharing the same bills with you. They got their arm pictures, of course, because you have successfully shared the stage on a number of occasions. They say something that gets traction and in a bad way. What's your responsibility there? Is it enough not to retweet it? Or do you feel, I mean, and I guess your opinion is you don't have to take your pictures down, of course, because a friend is a friend. But what if you're not really friends? What if you were just colleagues before that point?
Well, I think it's a weird association blame game that's just not. It just kind of it's not really serving the purpose of whatever your goal is. If your goal is to make a more accepting society for the trans community, then you should actually try to change people's opinions rather than try to punish people for who they hang out with. That's where I come out about it. It seems like you spend a lot of your energy on these things that I don't agree with. To be clear, I believe in the full rights and protections of all individuals, especially the trans community. But I don't think like going around and like policing other people's behavior is a way to go about bringing about the change in people's perspectives. And I think it's actually can be kind of counterproductive. It creates this like negative impact that sort of blunts any sort of reasonable change that you might get. It seems like people spend a lot of time just being mad at other people and just trying to find people to be mad at. That's what it seems like to me.
So, I mean, is the best for him to educate Dave Chappelle and both fan bases? Like if you're Patton Oswalt, just say, I talked to Dave, I told him this, I'm telling my fans this, and I'm hoping to tell Dave Chappelle's fans this as well. Like it's just an opportunity for education instead of just knee-jerk cosmetic fixes like taking a picture down.
Well, no, I think what needs to be done is if you're Patton Oswalt, your friendship is about your friendship, and there's things that like I have conservative friends, conservative coworkers. There's things I talk about, but that doesn't make them bad people, even though that I disagree with their stance on, like, let's say gay marriage or something like that. So I don't see why Patton had this extra responsibility just because his friend happens to share a different perspective than him.
Oh yeah. So it's not
Yeah,
it's not really on him.
it's not
So
really on him at all. I think the individuals that are sort of, trying to make this into a thing where they can blame Patton for whatever Dave Chappelle says are in the wrong. They should just relax. Don't go to the show. Go to the show, whichever you prefer. And it's sort of it's a lot of energy spent on doing nothing really. It's just like Patton Oswalt is a good comic, a good guy, and I actually saw him last year on Conan and live, and he was a great person. So yeah, I don't know what why you'd spend all your time trying to attack someone that we know that as far as I can tell, as far as famous people, seems like a decent guy.
you're saying that. But as far as so I think one thing that we're forgetting, this is kind of the point you have maybe that what we're all forgetting is that there's tons of people in our life right now that we're colleagues with or acquaintances with or even friends with, where they think shit, they say shit that we absolutely do not agree with, but we're still friends with them. And so it's like, why am I somehow supposed to stop being friends with somebody who might have an unpopular opinion when everybody attacking me also has friends who have unpopular opinions?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
also, it's like I heard a good analogy for this. I think like America, you have to remember we're not all friends. Sometimes we're just roommates. We're just people that live together. We have to share the same lease. We got to find a way to coexist, and you're not going to be able to change. Like I can't change my roommate's trash throwing policy. I can negotiate it, and we can try to change it. But at the end of the day, that's his or her trash throwing policy, and what I mean. There's things about when you live with someone that you have to accept, and we're in a big country with a lot of diverse opinions. We're not
Right.
going to be change everyone. We have to change. I think instead of focusing on like these individuals that you disagree with, you should try to make the policies and the real social change as opposed to like this like celebrity. It's just a lot of focusing on these famous people. It's
Yeah.
just weird.
And it's real cosmetic. Yeah, we'll transition into that real quick. But I mean, I think you're correct in that the metaphor is trash. Because some people are like, well, Dave Chappelle's a garbage human being. You shouldn't be friends with him. And then you're like, well, he's slinging trash, definitely. And somebody who slings trash is kind of shitty for slinging trash, but also thinking that it's fine to sling trash. But that does not necessarily make them across the board garbage person, because Dave Chappelle seems to just kind of paint with too broad a brush with it. He's like, oh, I know trans people, I know gay people, and they're all like this. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just because you have one
Mhm.
trans friend doesn't mean you can kind of paint with a broad brush. It's like everything's a spectrum. Sexual identity, sexual presentation, sexual attraction, and it's like they should all just be labeled with Q, with queer. But Q is taken by QAnon, so we won't smear with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like just because somebody is throwing out is slinging trash does not necessarily mean they're a garbage person, but it could be, and why the fuck would you sling garbage unless you were slightly a garbage person or lacking empathy or something like that? But I guess the transition is real quick. Do you think Biden, as far as policies and things like that for trans and other things, do you think how do you think Biden's doing in his first year or so? I think a lot of liberals are just pissed that he's not breaking the filibuster, as if the other side won't do the same thing when they're in power.
Mhm.
What do you kind of
Yeah.
think Joe Biden has done well, and what can he improve upon?
Well, I think President Biden did initially a great job at focusing on the pandemic and the response needed. I think he took a little bit of his eye off the ball with testing, but that appears to be the major issue. But that sort of doesn't get at the real issue, which is that Omicron's raging, and there's not like, you can only respond to it. You can't, change how individuals act with respect to policy. We've kind of run out of tools to effectively manage the pandemic because there's a lot of pandemic fatigue, and just we don't have the ability to shut things down like we did previously. So
Yeah.
but overall, I think Biden's done a good job of just keeping the country together. Passing some great legislation that doesn't even get talked about. Like he passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which a lot of individuals didn't think he could, and a lot of people don't realize like the limitations. Like I hear a lot in the media, it's like he has a trifecta, but really he has a slim majority in the Senate, which is the main thing you should focus on if you were, really good at covering the news, because that's really what makes the difference. He has like it's like a 50-50 split. So it's like, it's either one way or the other. And like at every issue he does, he has half the Senate against him. Like that's the way that you should frame it, rather than focusing on these more conservative Democrats like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. Really, he has 50
Yeah,
Republicans.
51 against you. You have Joe Manchin
Yeah,
against you too.
yeah,
But
but
also, it's not really the trifecta. It's like you have sure, it's a bicameral thing. You have the House and Senate maybe, but that's only 2 or 3 branches, and the judiciary has something to say about shit, especially when it's a conservative Supreme Court. And if your shit doesn't pass muster, especially at the, like now they're saying that the whole CDC is, they're getting arguments about overbroad regulations. Like you cannot pass regulations unless it's first authorized by a statute. And so, although the president has a lot of power when it comes to public health and things like that, if the CDC was overly broad or something like that, the conservative judiciary branch might have something to say about it.
Right. I mean, we also have a 6-3 Supreme Court, which is some people need to consider. A lot of people want him to like do executive orders to solve all their problems, which doesn't work. We tried it with Obama. We tried to put all these climate related measures to address climate change, and it turns out, the other president, if they come from another party, can just wipe everything away. Like, let's say he wiped student debt with a executive order.
Yeah.
Then the Republican president just comes in like, hey, that wasn't fair to all the working class people that didn't have student debt to have to take on and it would just be pretty simple to just it doesn't seem like people are being realistic. A lot of people don't follow politics. I think a lot of people like follow these like agitators on social media and things like that are just telling them, hey, we can do this and we can do that. But if you actually understand like the way the Senate works, if you got a 50-50 Senate, I think this is the first time we've had it since like 2001, and that was only because like a senator changed parties. But really, that's like a really slim majority. Like that's like for context, Obama had like a operating 58-60 majority, depending on if one of the senators wasn't gonna die. We had a really old senator, so basically he really didn't have even a full 60 majority, and he couldn't even get everything passed back then. Now, how do you expect President Biden to do everything with a 50-seat majority? It's just people aren't being realistic, and they just need to relax. Remember that we have a 2-party system, so it's either Biden or Trump, and I prefer Biden. I prefer waking up and what is Biden doing now? Oh, he's playing with his dog. He's taking a picture with his wife, and they're just at some ice cream bar or something like that. That's much better than waking up to some guy tweeting about North Korea or or shithole countries or whatever.
Oh, dude, that's perfect, and that's a popular opinion that I will put my arm around you in any picture, Jay Aquino.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And on Twitter, he is DJ Aquino, and he also has Takeover Comic, which is his art account. It's the same on Instagram as well. And also to check out that TikTok. We got to make this Jay Aquino go viral.
Yeah, that'd be great. But it's been a pleasure talking to you, Brian. Everyone, this is a new year, but we'll get through it, or we won't. Who knows?
He will let you know this via thejayaquino.com. Jay Aquino, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Have a good night.